Passage 2 from the set, and this passage talks about a topic that you've probably never considered, the job of an archivist. I know I've never thought of archivists and what they do before. What they do is they preserve information for the future. So let's take a look. While recent decades have seen more information recorded than any other era, and that's not hard to understand, information explosion, tons of information being recorded. The potential, however, for losing this information is now greater than ever. So that's not that great, assuming we want to keep the information. Now, this prospect is of great concern to archivists. Okay, who are archivists? What do they do? Well, here's what archivists do. They're charged with preserving vital records and documents indefinitely. And that's their job. Sounds kind of cool. So one archivist notes that while the quantity of materials being saved has increased exponentially, yeah, that's, kind of like what we set up here, information explosion. The durability of recording media has decreased almost as rapidly. Just as the quantity of information saved blew up, the durability, how long a thing lasts, of recording media has gone down just as rapidly. So what in the world, I know what durability means, like how durable a thing is, but what's recording media? What do you mean by recording media? Well, that's what they're about to tell us. Clay tablets, for example, here's a kind of recording media. Clay tablets that contain the laws of ancient Mesopotamia, for example, in case we didn't know as an example, are still displayed in museums around the world, and many medieval manuscripts written on animal parchment still look as though they were copied yesterday. Wait, I thought you said the recording media is going down, the durability of it is going down. These ancient clay tablets are at least 1,000 years old, many thousands of years old. And these animal parchments are medieval, so they're hundreds of years old. So that sounds like a long time to me. Right, so what do you mean it's going down? I just keep reading. Here's the contrast. You see, these two types of recording media, now I'm starting to understand what recording media is. It's just the physical manifestation of that information. The laws of ancient Mesopotamia, that's an idea. You manifest it in something. Well, the way they did it back then was to do it in clay tablets. Okay, so it's being contrasted with books printed on acid paper. This is a different type of media. As recently as the 1980s are already unreadable. Black and white photographs will last for a couple of centuries. This is another type of media. Most color photographs, a third type of media, will become unstable within 40 years, and videotapes, a fourth type of media, will last only 20 years. So you have what's considered modern media. Acid paper, black, white photographs, color photographs, and videotapes. These are modern recording media contrasted with older recording media. And now you see what they mean here by the durability of recording media has decreased. It used to be we used recording media that lasted a long time. Now we use recording media that doesn't last as long. Okay, so end of the first paragraph. I think we have enough information here to actually just do a low resolution summary. I'm going to put a little break right here because this is where we separate out the example of the problem. Okay, the problem, now this is super low resolution. We're told there's a big problem. You want to get higher resolution. What is the problem? Is that while we have tons of new things to record, they just don't last as long. The durability of a recording media is diminishing 20 years, 40 years. Okay, so, and then the rest of the first paragraph illustrates that. See, in the olden days, we had clay tablets. Oh, I think this is not in the right place. It should be over here. In the olden days, we had tablets that lasted thousands of years, or animal parchments that lasted hundreds of years. Now it's like just decades. Okay, let's keep going here. Second paragraph, computer technology would seem to offer archivists an answer. Okay, pause right here. Every time you begin a new paragraph, you have to think, how is this related? Why is this a logical next paragraph to the one I just read? Okay, how is this related? Well, the phrase here would seem to offer an answer, tells you the relation, which is that we just posed a problem up here. If you kind of understand that this whole thing is just an example, you really kind of you continue from here, because this is all just an example to illustrate this point. We're really continuing from this point. I just laid out a problem. Well, problems beg for answers, and here's an answer, at least seemingly an answer. Computer technology would seem to offer archivists an answer. And I'm thinking, yeah, that sounds right. Just shove all the stuff, the books, whatever, scan it, upload it to some server so it's on the cloud somewhere. Same with the photographs, same with the videotapes. Who uses videotapes anymore? Right? Like, just computer technology, done. We're good. But our author seems to say, no, not so fast. We're not good because it seems to offer an answer. As maps, photographs, films, videotape, and all forms of printed media may now be transferred to and stored electronically on computer disks or tapes, occupying very little space. Right? Yeah, what do you mean it seems to be an answer? And here our author tells us, but, so I'm going to write over here a potential solution. And over here with the but, we're going to get an obstacle to that solution. What's the obstacle? Yeah, why isn't this a good solution? Why isn't this just going to work out? Well, as the pace of technological change increases, so too does the speed with which each new generation of technology supplants the last, okay? So new generations of technology used to come up once every 100 years. Then it got squished down to once every 50 years. Now it's once every 5 years. Now it's like every 2 years you get a new generation of technology. Okay, how does that affect this? Why can't this be a solution? Well, for example, many documents and images transferred in the 1980s to optical computer disks may not now be retrieved because they depend on computer software and hardware that are no longer available. Okay, so you'll notice of course I skipped a bit in between. What is an optical computer disk? Well, whatever the hell that was the cutting edge of technology in the 1980s. And now, of course, you and I are looking at this like, I really don't even understand these words, right? So yeah, they can't, like, if someone handed me an optical computer disk, I really wouldn't know what to do with it. Am I supposed to throw it at my computer? Like, how do I get the information out of this, right? Because look, the hardware and the software that's able to access whatever information that was on the disk now, of course, is no longer there. Okay, so here what we get is an illustration of this obstacle. So I'm going to, in terms of low resolution, I'm going to write e.g. example, but note that this is not an example, like above in the first paragraph here, we had an example of the big problem, our main problem. That's not what this is. This is not an example of our main problem. This is an example of an obstacle to a solution, right? Here's a potential solution, use computer technology, but here's an obstacle. And let me illustrate that obstacle because it might not be that clear. And here, with this new sentence, and recent generations of digital storage tapes are considered safe from deterioration for only 10 years, is another obstacle, a separate obstacle. This is the obstacle of like technology, just the generation of new technology supplant each other so fast that if you're trying to access older technology, no one has the hardware software to access anymore. This is a separate obstacle. This is saying even the most recent generation, it just doesn't even last that long. It only lasts 10 years. Okay, so we got two obstacles to this problem. So now this last sentence signals another change yet. Okay, so I definitely want to put a subparagraph break in here. Now, you might be wondering, well, do you want to put a subparagraph here and here? Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, you might want to because they are sort of very different things. You know, kind of like how I did put a subparagraph break right over here because it's the problem to an illustration of the problem. Right, so maybe you want to. I'll just leave it up to you. I'm not gonna because I think it's a little cluttered. But here I definitely want to because they're talking about something totally different here. Yet, even as some archivists are reluctant to become dependent on ever-changing computer technology, they are quickly running out of time. The author's like, yeah, you know, I hope I've convinced you that this potential solution doesn't actually work that well or has a lot of issues with it. But you know what? While you're trying to make up your mind on whether you want to embrace computer technology or not, let me throw another problem at you. You don't have forever to make up your mind, right? That's a different dimension of the problem because it's like, imagine if this weren't a problem, how things would be different. Okay, if this weren't a problem, well, then we can just take our sweet time and debate, like, hey, should we use computer technology? Should we not? The author's like, you better hurry up because you don't have that much time. So this is a separate issue. This is an issue of urgency. So now the paragraph is kind of morphing. The passage is kind of morphing. Initially, the problem was, at least what we were focusing on, was just the durability of the recording media. We didn't really think about the fact that it was kind of taken as an assumption that you have plenty of time to solve this problem. Okay, when we first stated the problem out. Now, at the end of the second paragraph, we realize this problem has a whole new dimension, and that is of urgency. So I'm going to write problem here as well because, of course, it's part of the problem. Now, we have one more paragraph. Let's see what the author tells us in this final paragraph. Even if viable storage systems are developed, again, skip the bit in between the interjection. Even if viable storage systems are developed, Decisions about what to keep and what to discard will have to be made quickly. Okay, so that sounds like a nice, I would say like look for the connection. Here they kind of did us a favor. They just gave us the connection. Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. Urgency. Archivists are running out of time to figure this out. And this first sentence, third paragraph just reiterates that. All right, we're running out of time to figure this out. Why? Because materials recorded on conventional media continue to deteriorate. Yeah, like remember all those acid paper books that we mentioned? And all those like black and white photographs and all those videotapes? As you're taking your sweet time to figure out whether you want to use computer technology or not, they're deteriorating. So yeah, you gotta hurry up. So now, what's this bit in between? New computer technologies are emerging that may soon provide archivists with the information storage durability they require. Oh, okay. So here's our author is conceding the point that technology is advancing rapidly enough such that we're just on the brink. We're on the magic storage, the storage with magic durability, never fades. That's just on the horizon. So we're about to get there. But our author is saying, okay, even if I concede that point, even if I hand you the perfect, most durable storage media, even if that is true, you still have this problem. Okay, so that's the difference between just saying this, saying the point that this is an urgent issue versus what's happening in the third paragraph. The third paragraph is I'm going to concede away the problem the problem and the solution and why the solution doesn't work up here. Let me concede all of that away. We found the perfect durable medium to store things on. Okay, we found it. Even if that's true, you still have a problem. All right, so here I'll just write problem again. And the problem is that you have to decide what you want to keep, what you want to throw away, and you have to decide all of that really, really quickly. So ideally, these decisions, our author is saying, if you need to make all these decisions, how should I do it? Well, ideally, here's how you should do it. You should be informed about an assessment of the value of each document. You look at each document, you're like, is it valuable? Is it not valuable? Valuable, I keep. Not valuable, I throw away. Now, printed versions of ancient works by Homer, Virgil, for example, survived intact because their enduring popularity resulted in multiple copies of the works being made at different historical moments. So yeah, we have works from Homer, from Virgil. Why do we have them? Because they were super popular. And because they were super popular, there's just many, many copies being made at different times in historical moments. Okay, like, in other words, people in the past have already done this assessment and value thing. And Homer and Virgil, they passed. They passed, so therefore we have them today with us. But look, many great works, including those of Plato, were lost for several centuries and are known today only because random copies turned up in the archives of medieval monasteries or in other scholarly collections. Meaning, this is kind of difficult to understand, but the author mentions Plato here to signal that obviously these are works of great value. So if obviously they're works of great value and we were able to follow the ideal procedure for how to do this, then ideally someone would have assessed them, realized, oh yeah, this is great value. We would have kept it. It would have been like Homer and Virgil's works where, it just kept getting copied and copied. There's no chance of us losing it. But our author's saying, look, this is the ideal. It doesn't always function like that in real life. In fact, here's an example of we just got lucky. We just plain got lucky. These works of Plato's just survived because they just happened to be there. But think about how many didn't survive, right? Think about how many didn't survive. Because we can't live up to this ideal of how to make decisions of what to keep and what to throw away. All right, so in response to the problem, I'm going to put a little subparagraph break. I'm going to write ideal here. This is the ideal action to take, ideal way to resolve this problem. But of course, we can't do it. So the danger now is not so much that some recent masterpiece will be lost for an extended period of time, but rather that the sheer volume of accumulated records, and this is a callback to the very first paragraph where we said, within recent decades, we've seen more information recorded than any other era. That's the sheer explosion in volume. Right? So the sheer volume of accumulated records stored on non-durable media, and all of it is on fast-fading media, will make it virtually impossible for archivists to sort the essential from the dispensable in time to save it. Just imagine this. Imagine like truckfuls of documents, right? Just one truck after another, full of documents, all pulled in. Most of it is crap. Some of it is gold. You're the archivist. Your job is to find the gold from the crap. But the thing is, the trucks only stop by in front of your office for like a minute. And then what happens? It drives off a cliff. It's gone. Right? Next truck pulls up, stops for a minute, drives off a cliff, it's gone. Next truck comes up, stops for a minute, drives off the cliff, it's gone. That's that's the sheer volume. That also expresses the non-durability of the media. It only pauses for a minute before it just disappears, fades forever. And it's your job to find the gold and keep it. Well, yeah, that does seem like a really, really difficult job. So we end on a rather pessimistic note. Our author doesn't think the archivists will be able to fulfill their duty. So we're at the end of the passage. Let's go to the beginning and run a thread through all of our low-resolution summaries. So starting with the first paragraph, we are told that there's a problem. The problem is that the durability of our recording media isn't great. In fact, it's diminishing very quickly. So, and then we get an example to illustrate that. See, many, many years ago, ancient times, media was very durable. Nowadays, media is super not durable. Only a few decades, 20 years, 40 years. Okay, so then we move on. Hey, what about a solution? Maybe we just shove everything into computers, right? Okay, that might work, but actually, computer technology changes very, very quickly. So even just the previous generation technology, we can't even access anymore. And you know what? There's another problem, which is that the newest generation of computer technology is also not durable. Only lasts for 10 years. All right, so if I haven't freaked you out yet, here's another issue. Given the sheer volume of things that we have and how quickly they're deteriorating, we don't have a lot of time to solve this problem. Okay, we really don't. So even if I concede to you, I gift to you the perfect durable medium to store everything on, even if that's true. So forget, this is not a problem anymore. Okay, this is a really good case scenario. We have the perfect storable medium. You're still in a bind, because you have to make decisions very quickly about what to keep and what to discard. Ideally, here's how you want to make your decisions. You want to keep things that are valuable, discard things that are not. But if you just look in history, you realize that we hardly ever live up to this. What, you think we can live up to it now that we have more volume of information than ever before? I don't think so. Okay, let's look at the questions.